Welcome to this published author's interview. My name is Kenneth Muyingo, and with me I have a special guest. I'm going to be interviewing. Watch this interview and you would like to write a book yourself and become an author. There is a link with this interview. To click on the link, become an author and write your first book to join the group of like-minded people who are doing the same. And with that said, I would like to ask my guest to say hello to you and to introduce himself.
Hello there. Thank you for having me on this chat this evening. My name is Frank Saliki. I am an author based in the United Kingdom. I was originally born in Zambia. So I'm an author, a life coach, and I also work for the National Health Service in the human resource as part of the human resources. And I've got a passion for writing. I started writing because I really wanted to help people. I really wanted people to see what they can do. So I am a self-help author. So everything that I do is all about motivation and more inspiring, because for so long, I was a kid without a dream, without a vision. And once I found that, I wanted to help a lot more people to find theirs as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Frank. So you are from Zambia.
I'm from Zambia, yes.
I too come from Uganda. So my story starts there. I was born and raised there. And
yeah.
When was the last time you were in Zambia? I'm curious.
I got a few years, 2008 was.
Ah.
Yeah.
Nice.
The years seem to just fly by, don't they?
They say time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. And at the moment I am, despite the way the world is in at the moment
Yeah.
I am, because it's given me time to reflect and be thankful for what I have and to really ponder on what else I can create. So
Indeed.
It's still an exciting time.
Most definitely. And you work with the National Health Service. You must be really busy right now, considering the global pandemic. And
yeah, I was busy. It's been busy the last few months. Everybody has been doing so much. None of us have been doing our normal jobs, but it's been how humanity can just unite. The unity has been amazing, and I can't just think, hang on, why don't we just take this and live with it every single day?
Exactly.
It's just been amazing to see, because the love has just been, wherever you go, there's been so much love.
Indeed. It's amazing. Yeah. It's funny how adversity brings us together, and it just pulls out the best of us out of us so that we can just rise to the occasion. And I think it's a good opportunity for us to take a lesson from this and choose to live this way moving forward.
Yeah.
But you are a self-help author, and you have published a book.
Yes.
That's what I want us to talk about today. Tell us about your book.
So my book is called Arise and Shine. So it's Arise and Shine, from a high school failure to university graduate in 6 years. So I thought of writing my book. My story began, I failed my high school exams, and the day I failed my high school exams, I set a goal to go to university. But in the darkest hour, I decided I was going to do something with my life. And I remember when I first got the results, I got the results, and as I left the school, I saw two groups of people. On my right-hand side were people who failed their exams, and they were despondent, and they were looking like, well, this is what life has given us, so we can't do anything about it. On my left-hand side were people who did so well, and they passed the exam, and they had the future. And all of a sudden, I was faced with a choice. There's a group here with so much despondent, or there's a group on my left-hand side with so much opportunities in life. Now I had to make a choice of what opportunity what group I was going to go with, despite the fact that I'd failed my high school exams. And that day I chose to go with the people on the left-hand side, even though I'd failed. I decided I set myself a goal to go to university. And from then on, my journey began. And after I graduated university, one day I had a few young people said, I failed school and I've got no future. And I thought, and suddenly it just dawned on me, you went through that. You've got to write something just to give hope to people who think failure is the end of all their dreams. To me, I think failing my high school exams was at the beginning of the rest of my life.
Wow. And you said from this incident to 6 years, and you had finished with university.
I finished with university, yes.
Arise and shine. Wow, quite a story. Thank you so much for sharing. And could you maybe tell us more briefly about the vision that you have for this book, or the vision that you had for this book?
So the vision that I had for this, it's ironic you ask, the first question you ask is, what's the vision? The first chapter of this book is a vision for the future.
Okay. I'm loving this. I'm loving this.
It's kind of, for me, all of a sudden, it came, when I set a goal, one thing that I did not have when I was struggling before I failed my high school exams is I did not have a vision for the future. I did not have something to say, I want to achieve that great thing in my life. So there was nothing pulling me forward.
Yeah.
I saw, because I had nothing. I never thought I was good enough. I never thought I could achieve anything great. So I did not have anything that was pulling me forward. So actually having a vision for the future. No, I've got it. Actually, when I said I got to go to university, I had an actual destination for my life. I had so much to learn. I had so much just to overcome. But because I had that vision for the future, in my own head, I had an idea of how that future is going to look like.
Yeah.
And because I could visualize that in my head, I was able to deal with all the things that followed with it.
Yeah.
When people ask me about Arise and Shine, I kind of summarize it this way. So chapter 1 is a vision for the future. You have to have a vision for the future in order for you to achieve anything. Chapter 2 is standing up to defeat. When you've got a vision for your life, there are always people who are going to tell you you're not good enough. You can't make it happen. You failed, just like so many people did. And chapter 3, it's all about it's you. You have to remember that it's not what other people are saying. It's all about what you're doing. And chapter 4 is, I call it an unknown heaven. You know, it's something I had somebody said, an unknown heaven is always going to be better than a known hell. So it's being able to venture into the unknown. It doesn't matter how difficult it is or how little you know at the moment. It's just being able to make that step, and the view is going to become clearer as you make more steps towards your journey. Chapter 5 is your mind. You cannot change your life if you don't change your mind. We're where we are and what we are because of what has gone into our minds. So in order to change where we want to go, we have to change what goes into our minds. When we change our mindset, it gives us chapter 6, control. We become in control of what we're doing. We don't let circumstances dictate what happens. When we come in control of what we're doing, it gives us chapter 7. Chapter 7, faith. Our faith grows. And if our faith grows, gives us chapter 8. We plan, we prepare, and we expect to win. And when we plan and prepare and we expect to win, it gives us chapter 9. We finish what we start. And when we finish what we start, it gives us chapter 10. We go from being a victim to a victor of our circumstances.
Arise and shine. Wow. Very well summarized. You know your message. This is beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm curious, if somebody watches this interview, and from the conversations that I have with people, the topic of changing your mind keeps coming back. If somebody is listening to us and they would like to know, or they listen to this and they're like, this is great, but I'm kind of stuck changing my mind, what advice would you give them? What is the best place that you could advise them to start as far as changing their mind is concerned?
I think when it comes to changing our mindset, the one thing that we think there's a magic cure to changing your mindset. Listen, you can never go from I feel I'm not good enough, I don't feel I'm good enough, to I feel I'm good enough the next day. It just doesn't happen that way. in everything that we do, for me, when we talk about confidence and mindset, do you know a lot of it has got to do with competencies?
Yeah.
So most of the time when we say we're not confident at something, what we're saying really is, I don't know how to do it.
I don't know how to do
So
it.
the only way that you're going to get confident at something is by doing it more, taking more action. I didn't feel I was good enough. I didn't feel I was going to go to university or graduate to university. The only time it dawned on me that I was going to graduate from university was the last semester when I went, hang on, I'm going to do this. So even in all time, there was always these self-doubts. There's always something that I was doubting myself about. Whether it's I would say I'm not good at maths or I'm not good at the other thing. There's always something. So
Yeah.
for me, when we talk about changing our mindset, because what you have is you've been programmed. Everything that you think about, what you believe about yourself is through your experiences. So what you want to be doing is doing something that is going to counter what is in your mind. Because you might say, oh, I'm good enough, but your subconscious mind will say, but yeah, but I've got evidence. Remember when you failed?
Yeah.
But then if you do something about whatever you're worried about doing, your
Yeah.
mindset starts to change and it's got proof. A friend of mine said he wasn't good at IT, and you always said he was not good at IT. Until he came to time and said, what? Sign up for an online IT course. And 3 years later, he was leading his company's IT department. He
Wow.
went from I'm not good at IT to doing one course. So that opens his mind and realize that he was doing so many things. So for me, the advice is don't go for miracle cure. I think a lot of people just say nice things like feel positive, I feel good, I feel no. Go out there, just take massive action because massive action equals massive results.
Indeed. Wow. Thank you so much. Very well said. I'm reminded of a quote by Joe Bias. He said, action is the antidote to despair.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So it really blends in very beautifully with what you just said. I think taking action is the way to overcome and to change our mindset to get different results. So when I think about the journey that you shared, I'm thinking you are not the only one that experiences failure at this level or at the
No.
intensity that you did. And like you mentioned, some people went one way and others went the other way. And I'm thinking, when you chose to go this positive direction, what exactly inspired you to write this book? Because I'm thinking there must be a moment that you got sort of a light bulb moment that you got inspiration to say, I am going to do this.
Yeah. So I was on the train. I used to work in a city called Bristol, which is a few 50 miles from my house, and I was on the train, and a few young people were on the train, and obviously they're not done so well. And I still remember at the time the amount of negativity when they were talking about how their life was over when they were like 16, 17. And they were thinking, this is it, we're never going to do anything great. And I remember just sat there, and I was going back home. I got off the train, I got home, and I cried. And I just thought to myself, what can I do? What can I do to just help somebody out there? How many people are out there who just think they cannot do it? All they need is a bit of guidance. And all of a sudden, something came and says, write a book.
Wow.
Write a book. Another time I'm thinking, you know what? English is my third language. You can't just ask me to write a book in English. And it was there. And I went to bed and I'm thinking, I just can't write a book. And it's this message that was using there, you've got to write.
Yeah.
All the people, and all of a sudden that night, all I thought about was those young people on the train at the age of 17 thinking their life was over because they've experienced failure.
Yeah.
And I thought about other adults as well who were just completely giving up on their dreams. And I
Indeed.
thought, you know what? I gotta put this on paper. And what was remarkable was, because I was thinking, I haven't got a book in me. That was my first and that was my other reaction was, I can't write a whole book. I just couldn't see how I could write a whole book.
Yeah.
When I sat down and I started writing, everything just started pouring through. Everything. I sat there. I think I wrote the first 3 chapters in one day because it all just poured out of me.
Wow.
It was that message, and I sat there and I knew that there's a message I got to give, and I've got to do a lot more with this message than I was doing at the time.
Indeed. Wow. Thank you so much for doing that and for listening to that inspiration, to let it touch you, because sometimes we feel things, and because of one reason or another, sometimes we just let things sit in us, and we just maybe not willing to take action, like we started with about changing our mindset. And sometimes because we have not done something before, we may feel like we don't know how to do it, or we can never do it. But there's magic in getting started and taking action.
Yeah.
And so when you decided, you said, I'm going to write a book, I'm thinking about life and growing up in general. There is several aspects that we could talk about: relationships, finances, spirituality. All these things are essential, but you chose personal development. I'm curious, how did you choose the topic for the book?
I think for me is why personal development. I think my journey at the time, I realized my journey had been personal development. It had been about going from not believing in myself to taking action and doing the things that I was really scared of doing.
I see.
Because at the point, it all became a journey. When I said I got to go to university, it's not a lot of people around me, as I went back to my old school to recite my exams, it's not everybody who was saying, you're good enough, you can do this.
Yeah.
The majority of people around me were saying, just give it up. You can go and get a job in a supermarket or something.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of people who were just telling me that I was not good enough. And it was that point about finding myself, being able to grow and being able to believe in this dream. I think that's what got me to personal development, because I started developing personally in everything that I was doing, in believing, in taking more actions when things were not going so well. Because it was not a smooth 6 years. There were setbacks in there, and the times. Then I started reading about famous people who are not doing so well in school, like Dr. Ben Carson and the great Les Brown. And for me, then that inspiration was there. And the thing is, we carry so much in us, we never even know. So people ask me, it's like, when you decided to write a book, how long did it take you to work out the title? And I went, what do you mean? How long it took me to write the title? It's like, yeah. Did you get to the end and then decide the title? It's like, no, I knew what the title was before I wrote the first word.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it's all the things that I knew. And over the years, I've developed myself personally, and I choose that path of personal development because for me, I knew it was like, for personal development, it's like putting one brick at a time when you're building a house.
Indeed.
And I sit here today, I know that's what it was. It was taking one day at a time. It came down to, what can I do today? It wasn't what's going to happen tomorrow. It was simply, what can I do today, right now? Just one small thing. As my grandfather always used to say, it's a little drops of water, it's a little grains of sand that makes a mighty ocean and a beautiful land.
Wow.
So it's that one step. What can I do today? And for me, that's what personal development is all about. It's, what can I do today? What can I do right now? What can I do with my relationship today? What can I do to improve my career prospects today? What can I do to improve my finances today? It's all about today. Tomorrow is promised to no one.
Indeed. Tomorrow is promised to no one. It's There's something I like. It says yesterday's history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a present. No, it says today is a gift. That's why it's called the present.
Present. Yes.
I,
And
I,
you're gonna go, what am I going to do with this present? What am I going to do with this gift that I've been
today,
given with? And
that's
it was Les Brown who says, our lives are a gift from God, and what we do with them are a gift back to God.
most definitely. Very well said. Thank you so much. And so you started to just run with this idea and to write the book because you felt the inspiration was given and the story, the message was there because it was from your own experience. And I think that's a beautiful thing because sometimes we try to look outside of ourselves. We look for answers on the outside of us. But I'm reminded of, I think it's Jim Rohn who said, do more work on yourself than you do on your job. And that way you make an investment in your future.
Yeah.
And, and I think the work that we do on ourselves is the personal development. And each and every one of us needs to do that work on our own because it's not something we can delegate.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. And do you consider yourself as a naturally talented writer, or is writing a skill that you have developed over time?
Writing is a skill. I'm not a naturally talented writer. And I always say this to people when they come to my event. I always say, probably in this room, there are probably a lot more people who would write, who are, probably would make better writers than I do. Probably not a thing that you say as an author. You don't want to say that. For me, writing was not, it was not a thing I thought was a gift. It was never, as I said, it's never a thing I thought I could write a book. It's something that I've really had to work hard on. I write a blog. I write blogs every week, and it's something that I've really hard to work hard on, and it's gotten better every time I do it. So for me, writing wasn't something that came. It wasn't something that came naturally. It wasn't something that came naturally to me. But again, if I look back, it's when we're in university, when we used to write essays. For me, people would sit there, they'll be writing a 3,000 word assignment, and it would take them days, but I would sit there for 2 hours and write the whole thing. So in that, I could write things very quickly, but I never thought I could. I never thought I was a naturally talented writer. It's something that has grown over the years.
Oh, yes. Wow. Thank you so much. It's like somebody said something that the things we do repeatedly, it's not that they become easier, but rather our ability to do them increases.
Yeah,
I was
absolutely spot on.
I was having an interview with another gentleman yesterday, and he was talking about the same exact thing. He said when he looks back on the writing that he did 5 years ago and the writing that he's doing today, he says, I can see the difference. And it's the only reason I can see the difference is because I started when I started. Because I wouldn't be where I am right now if I didn't start. Les Brown is the one who said you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started in order
to become great.
Indeed. It's
and I said
go for it.
I said that's the one mistake that people make. They try to start. They have to feel great to start something, but you're never going to be great at something you've never done before. It just doesn't happen.
Doesn't work like that. Not in the real world.
No, not in the real world. No.
Wow, but so you shared the story of the experience you had in high school when you failed your exams and you decided that you're going to make something out of this. rather than to let it be a defining moment for you in a negative way. That you went back and you redid those exams and you eventually went to university and lots of things happened afterwards. But when you look back on this journey, as Steve Jobs said, he said, we cannot connect the dots looking forward. But
Yeah.
from where we are, we can connect the dots backwards and see
Yeah.
why some of the things that happened the way they did.
Yeah.
And we can connect the dots from where we are into the future and believe that things will connect the way we would like them
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, can you imagine me telling you a story that goes like this? Oh yeah, I did very well in high school. I went to university. I did very well. Why do you want to buy my book?
No. I'll be like,
You got
I can't relate to that.
yeah.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be able to relate to that if, but I'm curious, what would you tell me is the one thing that has happened to you personally that has had the greatest impact on you writing Arise and Shine?
The one thing that's probably happened to me that has a great impact to writing Arise and Shine is ironic because I never even write about it in Arise and Shine. I'm writing my second book called Finding Your Voice, where I talk a lot more. So one of the experiences I had when I was in my second year of university. In my second year of university, I suffered from depression. So one night I decided I'm going to go there. I'm going to go up there. I'm going to go to this bridge where so many people used to take their lives, and I'm going to jump on that bridge. And that night when I got there was a man there also about to do the same thing. And all of a sudden, I swung into action, a different kind of action. So then I went to talk him out of jumping for the bridge. And then I talked to him about all the good things that in life and what he could have.
Yeah.
I made him count his blessings. And he told me he had a family and everything else. I remember I sat there and I said, things are going to work out just fine. So I sat there and I prayed with him, and he went home and I went home.
Wow.
And that day I realized there's something that there's a power that I have. There's a gift that I've been given that it was overshadowed by so many things that was going on in my life.
Yeah.
But then that gift, that night came out.
Wow.
And the joy is the week before I started writing Arise and Shine. I met this man with his family, and we talked through what happened that night and how much his life completely changed that night. So for me, it was almost at the time, I was starting this book, and remembering what he had just told me, I realized this is a calling, this is a gift. Do something about it.
Wow. This is so powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's and wow. Thank you.
You lost for words.
I'm blown away. Seriously speaking, it's and I'm just wondering. You mentioned another book that you're working on, Finding Your Voice. Can you tell us about that book?
Yeah. So Finding Your Voice. So Arise and Shine really starts from when we moved from Zambia to the UK. So that's this starts from when I go to school. So that starts around 2006. So Finding Your Voice starts from when I started primary school in Zambia. So I've always been a kid who really struggled to fit in everywhere. So self-confidence is something that I didn't get to learn until later on.
Yeah.
So being self-confident, being self-assured is something I had always struggled with. I never felt comfortable in my own skin. So finding your voice, and what I've done with Finding Your Voice is I'm trying to teach to show the readers that every stage of your life is important, and it comes with its own lessons. So for example, in year one, my year one teacher encouraged people. Literally, she used to pick on me. So then what happened is everybody in my class started to pick on me. So what I've done in there, I talk about that story. Then at the end of it, I write about all the lessons that I've learned from that experience and how all those lessons actually, they're serving me right now and not hindering me.
Wow.
So what I'm trying to focus the reader is, you got an experience. The experience itself is not as important as the interpretation you give it.
Indeed. Indeed.
So you go through a difficult time. When I looked at my year one in school, I thought that was the worst experience anybody can have. But now I can turn that on its head and say, that was a great foundation for me to be where I am today.
Indeed.
So you see what I'm doing there? Then I'm not looking at my life and going, I was bullied. I was bullied all the time. But now I can actually I can give that a different experience, and it gives me a completely different feeling about me.
Indeed. Wow. Very powerful. Thank you. So finding your voice. I'm looking forward to this one. It's thank you so much, Frank. This was very inspiring and very enlightening. I'm so glad we were able to do this interview. First, I just want to mention, where can people buy Arise and Shine?
You can buy Arise and Shine. You can buy Arise and Shine on Amazon.com. Or if you want a signed copy, you can contact me on my Facebook, or you can contact me at franksaliki@hotmail.co.uk, and I can send you my PayPal link, and I will send you a signed copy as well. But if you want to have the book in your hand very quickly with e-readers, you can have it on Amazon.co.uk or Amazon.com.
Very nice. We will put those links for Amazon, your Facebook, and your email with the interview, so that people can either buy the book on Amazon or contact you directly to get a signed copy. And I would like to get a signed copy, so expect contact from me. It's It's wow, this was really wonderful. I just want to know from you, is there anything else that you would like to share that we have not been able to touch on in the interview?
I think for me, it's two things. If you've got a dream, Colin, don't ignore it. Don't ignore it. Sometimes a dream will come quietly. Sometimes it will. For me, it was burning. It was burning to come out, and sometimes it comes quietly. But the most important thing is finish what you start. There's so many people at home right now on their computer, unfinished book. You know, you could be having your own book in your hand right now. So many unfinished projects. Finish what you start. Yes, sometimes it's going to get difficult. Halfway through, you're going to be thinking, why am I even doing this? Finish what you start, and you're going to see the results. And listen, it doesn't matter how long you take. I'm going to leave you with this. It's about the story of a Chinese bamboo tree. It's my favorite story. So when they plant the Chinese bamboo tree, right? In the first 5 years, it doesn't come out of the ground at all. But you have to water it and fertilize it every single day. Because if at any point that watering and fertilizing process stops, the Chinese bamboo tree dies in the ground. But here's the amazing thing. In the 5th year, it comes out of the ground, and within 6 weeks, it grows 90 feet tall. And then you ask the question, does it grow 90 feet tall in 5 years or in 6 weeks? And the answer is it's in 5 years.
Yeah.
It's in 5 years. You might not even see the results. People might say, even Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder can see there's nothing showing here, right? People are like, whatever you're building, keep building. And there's this thing of instant success, no such a thing. It's just we get to see the results of what somebody has been doing over the last few years. So go up there, work on your dream, build the things that you want.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, Frank. This was very inspiring. I'm so glad we were able to do this. And I was
Absolute pleasure to be here.
Wow.